I'm not a chef, I don't have any culinary background. The only cooking experience I have is in Macca's.
This is hands down the best burger in Sydney.
It's like the most aesthetic as a burger.
A lot of people said, go to Chebbo's.
Collabed with Logan Paul, I've met Tom Cruise, Jason Derulo, hung out with for like half an hour, just one-on-one. It does add to a lot of pressure where it's like, I don't want to fall off, I want to stay irrelevant.
If social media never took off, where would Chebbo's burgers be?
Hailing from Sydney, Ali Chebani, aka Chebbo, is one of Australia's biggest creators, amassing over 1.5 million followers across all platforms. Yet what's most fascinating about his story is that he's also a burger shop owner. While some have capacity only to grow in one career, he's exponentially grown in both at the same time. What you'll learn in this interview is that one didn't precede the other or vice versa. Cooking burgers and creating content are parallel. So it's an honor that he's made time for me in this episode of the God Given Talent Show.
You're known as Chebbo online. How many people don't realise straight away that, oh, your name's Ali?
Yeah, it's, no, look, to be fair, it was a nickname from like childhood gaming, so that was my username whenever I'd play.
So a gaming username became your social handles, became the name of your burger shop.
Yeah, so, because my last name's Chebani, like the yogurt. And so, yeah, Chebbo. I don't know how I came up with it, but yeah, that was the nickname. And so it stuck around, and when it came to finding a name for the business and for socials, I mean, it was right there, you know, Chebbo's unique. I don't think I'd seen it anywhere else. There are some people now I discovered that have the last name as Chebbo, who DM me and say, oh, are we cousins? I'm like, nah, sorry, but yeah, that's how it came to be.
You started with your content, now you're a burger shop owner, and I wanted to also touch on that accounting background at some point.
Where do I start? I guess I'd say I started off, as an accountant, so it wasn't really something I wanted to do, but it was a good, safe choice in terms of uni. You know, I got immigrant parents, and the number one fear was not ending up in a good career and not getting a job after uni, and accounting seemed to tick both those boxes. And while it was a Bachelor of Accounting, I did go for it because it was in the business, field of uni. And so half of my majors were in accounting, half of them were in like small business management, entrepreneurship. I mean, I was able to, learn how to start a company and all these fundamental business practices in uni, which is pretty interesting. And so, that was from 2018 to 2020. And in the meantime, I'd always had a dream of opening a food truck, but it was something that I'd put off to be like, all right, I'll get one when I'm 60 and retire on it. Because I still love to work. I don't dream of retiring completely and just sitting down, something where I can have fun, exercise a passion, and still be using my brain, using, I guess, everything else that I've got. And so, that was it. And then eventually a friend had told me he was at, those night markets where they set up with the stands, that kind of thing. He told me that he was doing burgers there. And I was like, wow, it's pretty cool. I didn't know you could start off with a stand. And so after hearing that, that's what I set my eyes on. Where I was like, all right, what I'll do is I'll work my full-time accounting job, but then once a month or so when I'm bothered, I'll set up a tent and sell burgers. And so I started planning the menu and the concept, and came across Smash Burgers, which were around, but nowhere near as much here. Now every burger place is doing Smash, but back then barely anyone. And see, this was mid to, let's say, June 2019.
Yeah. So kind of your second year into
second year into uni. Yeah, and so I was at an internship at the time, and every time I'd get a small break in work, I'd brainstorm or look up YouTube videos of In-N-Out or Shake Shack or these like massive institutions. Yeah. And that's what it was. And then eventually I was like, all right, I've got everything done. I've ordered all my tent equipment, because that's all we were at the time. And I had my first pop-up in December 2019, and that was great. Within 24 hours of posting that, I'm opening a burger business, we had 440 followers, I think, which was pretty good, like organically. And that was just thanks to friends shouting me out, showing great support. And I guess no one was starting businesses back then, so there wasn't as much business fatigue. So everyone was like keen to come and show support. And first pop-up was great. Next month we had another one, that was great. The following month we had another one, that was great. And then boom, we're in March 2020, which obviously is COVID. I was working another internship at that time, and I was pretty bored. Because 9 to 5 I'd be clocked on, work from home. After that, you can't go out, you can't do anything besides go out to eat. And even that, there were a lot of rules and restrictions in terms of masks and the groups you can go with and one person per car. And so I'd seen at that point that there was a announcement from the New South Wales government where they said, all right, if you're a food vendor, you can trade from home. I was like, perfect. I've got all the equipment in my garage.
Wow.
I'll just literally take it out, put it in my driveway and start selling burgers. That's what we did. First week, we did like 50 burgers over 2 days. But like at that time, I was like, that's awesome, you know? How cool was that? Just from Instagram, I can post that I'm selling burgers and sell some. And then week after week, we'd grow and grow and grow. And that's because at the same time, I decided to post on TikTok. So that's a whole another issue, but yeah, TikTok, I was introduced by my little sister in I think December 2020. It's like, what's this weird app, you know? Like, yeah, I think like with anyone, we all wrote it off. And so I was very reluctant to download it, but once I did download it, I was hooked. And I saw a friend from high school, his older brother was going viral with like millions of views. I was like, that's pretty cool that someone I know is able to go viral based off of one of their talents. Because Instagram, like at that time especially, you couldn't get any followers or views unless you were like, as a male, 6 foot jacked, you know, Love Island type. And same thing for girls as well.
It was very much an influencer culture
100%.
about what you look like as opposed to what you do.
Yeah, exactly. There wasn't much value being added. It was just very aspirational type of content as opposed to educational or entertainment. And so yeah, once I saw that, you know, you can be just a normal guy but have a cool skill and show that off you can do well, I was like, all right, I tried to do some content that didn't really work. Sorry, I tried to do comedy that didn't really work, obviously, because some of your jokes just don't translate well. In respect to all comedy creators, it's a very hard gig. I was like, all right, what do I know how to do? I know how to make burgers. And so I started off with a burger challenge where I'd make a burger every single day. And it was a great way for me to show off my skills, people to connect with the journey. And it was just fun to follow along. So people would tune in every day during lockdown and see what burger I've made. And so those kind of paralleled at the same time. I started that challenge in March 2020, started the food truck from my driveway March 2020, and they just grew exponentially. Within I think 3 months or so, or 2 months even, we'd be selling like 300 burgers a night. We'd have people all over my driveway. I'd have police called because people thought we were having parties during lockdown, which was problematic. But yeah, it was a really interesting time.
There's a lot to unpack in that story. So for yourself, essentially, content creation and burgers kind of started simultaneously.
Yeah, pretty much.
And both took off. I kind of want to ask though, like, if social media never took off, where would Chebbo's Burgers be?
Yeah.
Because that is a huge part of
100%.
the success, and I'm interested to know, like, would it be where it is today if it wasn't any social media success?
Yeah. Look, it's so hard to tell because at the end of the day, I do believe that the business, after being around for 5 years, does have its own legs in terms of quality and you know, the customer service and what we do for the customers who come in through our doors. And people who do come, sometimes I'll serve them, they'll have no clue who I am, which is, I take that as a compliment because it's like, all right, you don't know about any of the virality or whatever, and you're still coming here because of business. But then on the flip side, yeah, if social media wasn't around, I don't know if I would have just given up after 2 months of selling 50 burgers, or I don't know, it's hard to say. If I stuck through it, I think we'd still be doing well, but obviously it would have been a much slower grind. Social media is great in terms of accelerating things, but if you're good, awesome. More people are going to find out that you're good faster. If you're not so good, people are only going to find out that you're not so good faster. And it's a quick burn before you're fizzled out.
It's good that I'm interviewing you like a few years into it, as opposed to like a year into it, because it's proven that you've got longevity in this space and kind of solidified yourself in the hospo world. What I want to know is, what do you think it was that people gravitated to online and like, oh, I really want to follow Chebbo?
I think it's just that, like, I'm not a chef, I don't have any culinary background. The only cooking experience I have is in Macca's. And so I'd approached everything, and even before starting my videos, I didn't know how to cook a single thing besides a burger. And so now if you look at my channel, I'm doing pasta, steaks, brisket, all sorts, but every skill that I learned on camera with my audience. And so whenever I post a recipe, it's not like, obviously there's appeal to like fancy and very complex recipes, but what I try to sort of imply is that, all right, I'm a standard bloke who's just being himself, and if I can do it, you can do it. And I think that low barrier to entry to cooking and to recipes definitely appealed, because everyone likes to eat good food, you know? And so it's like, I like to eat a good steak, but now I'm making them better in my house for cheaper than you're buying them. And, you know, all respect to the hospital veggies, but, you know, it's showing people that, yeah, I'm coming from a place that you're coming from, and this is what we can do together almost. Orders up. 2 deckers, classic double, 3 regular meals. So, what I'll first do is drop the chips. There is room for a thicker patty, but I feel like that's reserved for like the fancier restaurants. Yeah, like a good smash, it's simple, it's easy, you're not messing with it. Like a lot of these old school burgers, which I still do enjoy, but like you'll have to have like breadcrumbs and stuff in there. Whereas like a smash, this is 100% beef mince. We season with salt and then like a bit of garlic powder, onion powder. It's all just allowing like good quality beef to do the heavy lifting. So like I'll adjust it here so that when I come, it sits perfectly. The most attractive side facing forward. When you open the box, like it's looking at you, you're looking at it. Like you're making eye contact with the burger. That's something that In-N-Out do. You see how like pretty much every In-N-Out burger, it's all like photogenic almost. So what they do is they use the analogy of making a burger smile. So like, all right, you look at a burger that's smiling at you, you're like gonna smile back. And that dictates how they position and fold the cheese when they place it. That's important, you know, like if a burger looks good and tastes good, you're happy. If it doesn't look too good, you kind of, not consciously, but I don't know, subconsciously you're a bit, I don't know, averted away from properly immersing in it. Yeah, nowadays, especially like with everything on social media, if something looks good and tastes good, you're a winner. If it doesn't look good, people won't post about it. So you taste good, but you won't get that added post and virality. Because people want to share obviously good looking food. It's a flex when you go somewhere nice and it's all, you know, photogenic. So yeah.
I think it sounds like important to you that you're not just relying on your own social media status for people to know about you.
Oh
You're
yeah,
also
100%.
relying on them to post.
Yeah, because like I can have 10 million followers, but if you're not culturally relevant, then I think it means nothing. And so culturally relevant means that the people are on your side. And so yeah, if every week I'm getting, I don't know, 5 or 10 story reshares, then that's a win, you know? Because people, it's trendy, you know?
When you made that shift from saying, okay, yes, I'm studying accounting, but I want to do this as well.
Yeah.
Was there any tension there?
I mean, my parents were born in Lebanon, so as I touched on before, like very conservative in terms of what they thought was a smart move or not. I mean, my dad, he raised us all driving taxi, and the number one thing he told us was like, you want to save your body and you want to save your sleep, you know? You want to spend time with your family. There'd be so many times where he'd come back, like there'd be days on end where I wouldn't see him. And so like that's what he stressed so much. And so through that all, while they did want to push me towards accounting because it was, you know, such a safe career choice, at the end of the day, if I'm doing well, I'm doing well. And so they were skeptical when I did the tent, but they were like, I mean, he's chasing his dreams and he's a hard worker, why not? There was a bit of tension when I wanted to start my graduate role in 2021 and when I wanted to leave that. So I was meant to start in December 2020 at a bank. And so I graduated from uni June 2020. So I had that 6 months to be like, all right, if I can get the wheels rolling, then I can tell them, sorry, I'm not going to start, I'm just going to do burgers full time. And that's what I told my parents. They're like, look, don't you reckon it's a bit risky? Can't you start part-time at the place? And the place was open to part-time, but I was like, it'd be too hard. Content, part-time at a bank, and then the business. And like, I already knew when I was working from home at the bank, I was like doing the bare minimum so I can do my spreadsheets and do my research and stuff like that. So like my mind was fully, and my mind and heart were like fully set on the burgers. But yeah, eventually I proved to them, look, I know it's risky. I've got my degree, I've got my experience, and I can always go back to the industry, but I think this is like a once-in-a-lifetime shot to make something out of it. And they're like, all right. And yeah, they've always helped me in terms of the pop-ups and setting up and last-minute bun deliveries from my mum and my dad. I think pretty much every single day for the first 2 years. He helped me set up the tent, helped me, tow the trailer in.
Wow.
So a lot of support there, and they're very proud of me. As much as you can feel that immigrant pressure on you, they're my number one fans in a way, which is very nice to see.
That's great to hear.
Yeah.
I also have an immigrant dad,
Yeah.
and there was a lot of tension in the house.
Yeah.
Explaining, no, Dad, it's going to work out. It's going to work out.
Because it's hard. I mean, it's especially nowadays. Like it's such a revolution in terms of what's deemed as successful. Like, and we are now dealing with burnout and lack of passion, leading to us having a lower quality of life. And for them, I think that's just something they sucked up because there was nothing else. But now that we've had a taste of, and we can see tangible examples of other people making it work in fields that they really enjoy. We've got a different viewpoint.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, exactly. It would have been hard for him to understand that, like, all right, you can sometimes make more money with less work, let's say. And follow your dreams, or you're doing something that rewards you internally.
Does that mean, though, too, like, do you ever feel that pressure of, like, it can't fail now?
Oh, man. Literally, like, this week was like a perfect time to ask me because, yeah, especially with socials, it's such a turbulent kind of space where, all right, there's trends and this and that, but I feel like while it is in your control, there's so many variables to nail. I feel like sometimes, honestly, the business is easier to keep at a more stable success rate because as long as you're controlling your variables of quality and customer service, everything else will figure itself out. But in terms of socials, that's another thing where it's like such a massive opportunity that brings in customers and helps me connect with my audience. That I'm feeling a lot of pressure because creators have a life cycle at the end of the day, and being able to stay on top of that wave and keep surfing it it's been 5 years for me. I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty challenging, pretty tough, and I've got to find my feet, and it does add to a lot of pressure where it's like, shit, I don't want to fall off. I want to stay relevant. I want to stay, creating because it's what I enjoy to do. But when you do get the numbers side of it, yeah, mentally it does weigh on you a lot. Especially when, for example, the last 2 weeks, ourselves and a lot of other hospo venues have been saying it's like terrible. And so, all right, couple 30 to 40% drop in sales with losing followers. It's like, all right, where's everything going? But yeah, I guess the strategy is zooming out and being able to say it's just a change in the tide and it'll come back, which hopefully it will. But there's a lot of pressure and a lot of navigating that stuff, and it does contribute to burnout and stress and panicking. And yeah, I've just got to try and step back from a lot of the emotions and like I said before, I think just focus on what I can do right now. So in imagination, anything that can happen. So if I just get too caught up with it, I think it'd work to my detriment. And it has before, I think, with socials. Whenever I'd pivoted to a style out of panic, it ruined my momentum. Because it meant I was coming away from who I am and what I like to do into another, let's say, style that is doing well conventionally, but isn't me. And so better in the short term, long term, it has a end, like dead end. Yeah, there's a dead end at the end of that pass.
With success comes haters.
Oh yeah.
And so because you've got the shop, so it's not like people can easily hate online.
Yeah.
And you'll never know them, and it's like water off a duck's back. Shouldn't affect us. But they can now physically come into your store, meet you in person, say that to your face, or even just like say your burgers aren't great just for the sake of it.
Reviews,
Like, what has been one of the most negative reviews you ever received? And how did you deal with that, if it did affect you?
Yeah. Oh, look, instead of one of the most negative, there's a few like angles to take it from. So for example, in terms of online, having obviously a physical presence and then the online presence, number one, you'll get trolls who are just kids bored, who want to stir up some fun. So there was this one person who said, I think it was on a review of someone else reviewing my food. They commented, I got food poisoning from this place. And obviously I took it very seriously. I'm like, hey man, please message me. Like, I want to figure out when and why so I can see if any systems went wrong that would have caused it. And I was pretty insistent. Because number one, if it was actually an incident that means there's a problem to be solved, which if I address, that'd be obviously a very good thing to do. But then another part of me was kind of doubtful. So I pressed and I pressed. I ended up getting him to DM me, and he ended up being a 12-year-old kid who was like, "Oh, sorry, I was just having a laugh." And I brushed it off. I'm like, "Oh, old man," but just to let you know, that's a bit of a serious claim and stuff like that. And so that was that. Another thing is kind of the tall poppy syndrome, where it's like, all right, when you do see another Aussie creator doing well, it does trigger something inside another person to leave a nasty comment, especially if they're an anonymous account. I'm very familiar with like 3 accounts now whose usernames I always see under posts of people reviewing my food, where they say it's overrated or whatever, where it's like, look, fair enough if they've come and they didn't have the best experience. What I'm trying to deal with now is like, all right, and any other hospital venues, let's say you nail 99% of your burgers, you sell 1,000 burgers, that's 10 burgers who are going to go to people who aren't going to enjoy them, who are going to think, oh, this place is mid, it's overrated. And then the margin for error is, I tell the team this all the time when I'm telling them how to salt. The difference between a 10 out of 10 burger and a 5 out of 10 burger is literally how much you move your wrist when you're salting a patty. You know, if you just move it 50% less, that burger, they're going to hate it.
Yeah, wow.
So it's fair enough if people do come in those times and have an honest opinion. But yeah, the tall poppy syndrome, which I want to touch on, is like, and I feel it sometimes too. I don't think that denying feelings is anything that we should go down. I feel like whenever you get a feeling, you should process it. But yeah, when some people see an Aussie creator who's had the similar upbringing from a similar area that's doing better than them, let's say better, it triggers a feeling in them where they're like, that could be me, but I'm holding myself back. And so instead of addressing why I've held myself back, it's easier to just hate on this person, brush it off. It's like, yeah, seeing someone successful who's got, who bought their first property, you can easily say, oh, it's daddy's money or whatever. At the end of the day, it could be daddy's money, but how's that serving me to say that? And yes, it's the only reason I'm saying that is because internally, shit, I want a property. Why can't that be me? And so instead of, all right, addressing why I haven't been able to work hard and get a property, I can easily just say, oh yeah, it's because daddy's money, and brush it off, and that's it. I've protected my own ego. So I think that's what it is. And especially, a lot of the banter culture that we have as Aussies and a lot of bullying that goes on in primary school, everyone's very defensive, closed up with their egos. And social media does give a platform to those who can hide behind an anonymous account and externalize their pain onto other people. But yeah, bit of a deep little tangent, but
no, it's I like having that conversation with you because you've got so many eyes on you, and it's wild to me that there'd be hopefully not as many as we might think, but people were hoping for a downfall.
Oh yeah, 100%.
It's insane that people. I don't know why people think that way, but
it's like Spider-Man 1. Have you seen the scene where Green Goblin talks to Tony? Yeah, they found you amusing, bro.
And I like having that conversation. Because it's like, well, how are you feeling? How does that make you feel? How are you overcoming that? And
Look, to be fair, I don't get many haters. Besides those 3 accounts, it's not much at all. Although I have that paranoia as a business owner to see. Although I have that paranoia where it's like, all right, every time I get a notification from Google, I'm like, there you go, it's a 1-star, we cooked, we're finished. But then seeing it's a 5-star, whatever, I'm grateful, obviously. Yeah, it's just something that I got to try and talk to myself through and be like, all right, look, ground myself in reality. We can all get, especially when my livelihood is tied up in this and my personality, it's Chebbo's Burgers. I got to try and detach almost and control what's in my control. It's like, all right, if there is a negative review, figure out what happened and then address that instead of, spiraling. There was one where someone wasn't, we traded at the Sydney Royal Easter Show, which is I think the biggest event in the country. That's a temporary event. And there was a guy who said he didn't really like the experience under a comment of a video. And I engaged with him and I was like, oh man, I'm so sorry to hear. What do you think went wrong? Given that it's such an intense time period, there can be things that, we don't have 100% grip on. And so I just want to know for next time. And then he engaged with me and said, look, the burgers were great, it was just a bit small and the portion sizings were small. And in that exchange, all of my replies were I was replying courteously and respectfully. Yes, so respectfully. Yes, I could have easily written it off and been like, oh no, this guy's definitely a hater or an idiot or whatever it is. But yeah, I think that ties into the other side of tall poppy syndrome, where it's like if you show that you're a hard worker with genuine intentions and you're not, using your ego, people will mess with you more in a good way.
Like you said before, you're detaching yourself from the business and seeing what's a genuine thing that can be fixed versus, oh, they're just attacking me personally. And that's something you had to learn, essentially, being in this space where you're both public facing and the owner of a shop.
Yeah, exactly. So because it all comes back to me, and so many variables out of my control, where it's like, if someone comes and I'm not at the store and let's say there's a new guy training, people won't say, oh, I came to Chebbo's, but there was a new guy training, so my burger wasn't as good, that's fair enough. No, they'll be like, I came to Chebbo's and you gave me a terrible burger, which is like, it stings, but I mean, that's the game, I guess, and it's really more incentive for me to double down on my staff and my systems and my training, and everyone's amazing that we have here. It's just, trying to narrow down the room for error.
How often are you just getting to stop and think about all that you've achieved, really?
Not until I'm presented with the opportunity, I guess. Which is, not much. Because it's always, there's always something to do, something to keep you busy. And then when you're not doing stuff, you're, I don't know, out with friends or family or just trying to balance those balls. So, not much, but when I do, it's good.
Like, even how often are you having a burger?
At least once a day.
Still.
Maybe twice. Everyone always asks, oh, do you get sick of it? I'm like, not really. It's, I feel like it's pretty solid, it's pretty standard, it's beef, bread, sauce, cheese. And once you're hungry, you're hungry, so. I don't really get sick of it at all. So it means I'm doing something right, I guess.
Oh, great. So
this is a Decker. So this one's like the Big Mac inspired one.
Yeah.
But as I said before, we used to have a middle bun, but it was just a bit too annoying to toast. So just made it a double patty.
And this one I've got is the
Double classic.
double classic. Yeah, cool.
Did I hit the marks on the salt?
Yeah. That's unreal. But I guess when you're traveling, are you getting burgers even on your travels?
Yeah, 100%. Like Shake Shack, I love. A lot of people don't agree, but I've tried them in, I think, 3 different countries now. Each time's unbelievable. The same thing. Simple meat, simple cheese, simple sauce, Martin's bun, but it just, I don't know, hits. So it's a winner.
Who would you say you rank? I guess even in comparison to Shake Shack, but even in the Australian burger scene, in the independent space.
Ourselves?
Yeah.
It's hard, man. I think it depends on the day. I'd say our top 5 is like a safe bet though. Because once it's so hard. Like once you're in that top bracket, there's only so much of a better smash you can get, of a better seasoning you can get. Like the opportunities for improvement are so marginal.
Yeah.
But I'd say top 5.
Yeah.
And it depends. Like who's making the burger, a lot of those variables. But then I guess success is given to those who are able to control those variables the best.
How does it make you feel that you've kind of also transcended just being an everyday burger shop owner to being somewhat of like a micro celebrity?
I'd say that.
Call it that. I've also noticed that you've been traveling and sharing your story at events in like, they're not Australian content conferences, they're like
international
ones. Like, How does that make you feel that you've transcended into that space, considering basically what you wanted to do was just have a burger shop?
Yeah, honestly, just have a burger truck. That's all I set out to do. It's pretty surreal. Like, all right, so there's two examples. Thanks to TikTok, I was flown out to Singapore to speak to an internal conference, meeting other creators. So there was me, another creator from Singapore, another creator from Japan, and like I was handpicked out of all the Aussies, which was like insane. And then the second one last year was France, the Cannes Lion. So that's pretty much biggest marketing.
I think that was the biggest one most recently, and it's like that's 100%. Insane that you got invited.
Yeah, and out of TikTok, out of the whole company globally, I was the only one from Australia. There was like 2 from America, 1 from France, 1 from Italy, 1 from the UAE, and so it's just, I don't know, unbelievable, kind of surreal as well to look back on it and be like, I'm just like a guy from Bankstown, Southwest Sydney, who just didn't know what he was doing and still doesn't know what he's doing. I have like moments where, I'm on my desk like trying to pull my hair out because I don't know how to fix whatever issues are going on. It's surreal, but also like I'm so grateful for it because I never would have dreamed that it'd be my reality.
Yeah, it's crazy. For yourself, what is the end goal?
End goal?
What was the end goal when you started, and has that changed? Was it still the same, and what is it?
End goal when I first started, I didn't want a store at all. I was petrified of rent, being locked into leases, just risk of failure. I saw it as too much of a risk. Now, obviously after having the store, it's a bit different, but I'm still figuring out where exactly I want to end. I would love a few locations where we're not big enough so that we dilute the culture and the quality that we're after, but we're not small enough so that we aren't able to service as much people as we want. I'd say a few locations. And in terms of socials, I'd say just to have a series where I'm actively looking forward to filming and I've got a community that vibes with me the most. Because I can easily say right now, all right, I want 5 million followers, but I hit my 1 million followers and I hit my 250K, nothing changed. And so instead of chasing an arbitrary number, I'd say focusing on what I felt at certain times, which was, all right, having a great video or a great time where people were engaged and were having back and forth and comments, chasing that. And that's a good way to think about things. I think the same thing with money or sales. Like a lot of these hot venues, all right, you hit a certain sales number, but how did you really feel? Because as soon as you hit that sales number, you saw the next milestone, you're like, oh, okay. Numbers, I think nowadays, especially where everything's measurable, quantifiable, are such a quick route to feeling unfulfilled. So focus on the feeling, chase the feeling that was tied to a specific milestone, not the milestone itself.
And you've hit, like you said, you've hit some big milestones.
Yeah.
1 million followers on TikTok.
Yeah, collabed with Logan Paul, I've met Tom Cruise,
Like
Alex Volkanovski, Jason Derulo, hung out with for like half an hour, just one-on-one.
Yeah.
So a lot of cool milestones where it's like, dude, that's insane. But those are like icing on the cake. I feel like, if I really want to be, let's say, happy or fulfilled, it's the day-to-day. Contrary to what you'd think,
Like as in, that's what you enjoy most, is the day-to-day.
It's the most sustainable. Obviously, like, for example, when I was with Logan Paul, I was like, bro, this is hectic, but it might sound weird, but it's like, all right, if Logan Paul was just my neighbor, what's the appeal? It's the flex that other people would think is cool. That's the main thing. And obviously I think he's a cool guy myself, but part of it is the social merit that is tied to it. You know what I mean? And so chasing a feeling that only feels good, chasing a feeling that feels good because of social external approval is dangerous. And so I think the happiest moments in anyone's life, it's because it would come from something inside them.